This video is the recording of the prep period workshop from April 2021. This prep period workshop was our final full group in-person training. That doesn't mean that we're obviously done. We will have more over the summer, right after school probably, and especially right before we come back in the fall. You'll have opportunity if there's still some things that you're wondering about. Of course, Kelly and I are always here to help in any way we can. So if you want in a one-on-one session, or you and a partner teacher, or if a department wants to get together, we can totally do that. Remember that in the first couple of sessions, the very first session that we did with everyone at the high school, we talked about assignments and modules and kind of got an overview of that. The second one we did was quizzes and outcomes, which are standards. So this third one is going to be kind of tying up some loose ends. There's not one overarching kind of topic here. We're just going to kind of, show some of the things that we haven't quite gotten to yet. Now, remember, with only 3 sessions, that's a lot to squeeze in. So we know these are jam-packed. So let us know if you want a little more. Of course, we're always supporting with support videos and links to other things too. So to get started here, one of the first things we're going to talk about is using Speedgrader and the Gradebook. So in previous sessions, we've taught you how to create assignments and get them to kids. Now we're going to show you how to go back and find them and grade them. We're going to lightly talk about creating rubrics. I'll show you the basics, and then of course provide support resources if you want to go deeper in that. We're going to talk about configuring course settings and notifications. There are some pretty nice settings for you and your students to help keep everybody on track. And the one thing that's not on there that I'm going to show at the end is how to share content so that you can kind of divide and conquer in your departments and not have to reinvent the wheel every time. So let's go ahead and log in to Canvas if you haven't already, concord.instructure.com. Go ahead and bookmark that. If you haven't, take a minute to do that. This is the link that you will use to log in. This is what students will use, and when the time comes, this is what parents will use. So the nice thing about this is we all use the same link. There's not different links for different people like there are in PowerSchool. And then go ahead and log in with Google as well. Your students will do that too. Parents, probably not, depending on what kind of email they sign up with, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The other thing that I want to point out on this slide, though, is right up here in the corner, this little picture. Many of us have already done this, but if you haven't, go ahead and click on this and enroll yourself in the Learning Canvas course. All right, this is a course that we had made here for us at Concord. Go ahead and you'll enroll yourself as a student, which will be really nice. I'm going to slide over and show you the my view of it, the teacher side of it. So this is the course that you should see. This is the home page. This course is very extensive. There are a lot of things in here. There's so much about Canvas that if you went through each of this, you'd be pretty much a Canvas whiz by the end. You can use this course in 2 ways. You can either start here at the beginning and work through it as a student, and there's little activities and little quizzes that will test your knowledge as you go and just work all the way down through. When you get to the end, you should have a very strong knowledge of Canvas and how to use it. It will take you a while, I'll just be honest. If you go through this from start to finish as a student, it's going to take you quite a bit of time. Now, that does not mean you have to sit down and do it all at once. You can break it up and do it, but you have that option. You can also use this as a reference guide. So if you just want to come to this homepage and scroll down and see what you're looking for to learn more about, you can absolutely do that. So let's say you just want to know right now about assignments. Come on down to this assignments button, click on that, and you can just kind of use it as a reference guide. So when you first click on the page, on any of the buttons, you'll be on the Obtain Knowledge tab. We've kind of modeled this after gradual release. So you have Obtain, Develop, and Apply. So the Obtain usually just has some literature to catch up on, a video to watch, and a lot of times some supporting links down here. If you want, click on the Develop, and it will give you a little task to do to kind of test your knowledge, and so you can kind of try some things in it. And then the Apply tab is usually like a little quiz or an activity that you submit. We don't really grade it, to be honest. This course, as the teacher, I use it as examples. So here in a moment, I'm going to use it as an example of things that my students, teachers in the course, have submitted to me. So you have this course to use how you wish. I would definitely enroll in it just so you've got it, and then it'll live on your dashboard. You can always get back to it. So like this, it's on my dashboard. It'll look this way for everyone, the Minuteman logo with the learning canvas, and it's there for you to use however you would like. So if I come back over here quick, we're going to jump right into talking about grading. There are two things to know really in Canvas about grading. We're going to talk about the Speedgrader, and we're going to talk about the Gradebook. We're going to talk Speedgrader first. Speedgrader is where you will grade assignments that students submit digitally, meaning if you did an online submission or an external tool assignment type. So let me show you what that's going to look like. I'm going to slide back over to Canvas. I'm actually going to use this learning course as my example. So I'm going to click into it. To find the assignments that I want to grade, I can come over here to the left-hand side, and I have my list of options. These a lot of times are in different order for everybody, depending on how you arrange them. So just find assignments, and then you'll have the list of all of your assignments. So you can just scroll till you find the one you want. I'm going to use this notifications and procedures one. It's going to open up here to show you what the assignment was. You created this at some point, so you know all of this stuff. What you need to look at now for grading purposes is right over here on the right, we're going to find the Speedgrader button. When I click on that, it's going to open up a window that looks very similar to Google Classroom, okay? So my student work should be right here in the middle. The student has not submitted anything yet, but we'll find one that has. And then off to the right, I have feedback and grading tools. So Google Classroom is set up very similarly, so this should feel pretty comfortable. Up here in the top right corner, I have my student's name, and I have forward and backward arrows. And I have a drop-down arrow. So I'm actually going to do this drop-down arrow real quick. And you can see my list of students here. Any of these names that are grayed out means that they have not submitted anything. And that's okay. I'm not calling out these teachers for not doing it. Remember that we said you could use this course as a reference guide. You didn't have to do the assignments. But I am going to scroll down because I did have two that did submit it here for me. So all these grays have not done anything on it. And then I've got two down here who have. Thank you, ladies, for doing that. If you see this video, for giving me an example to use. So I'm going to click into this one. And this assignment was they could upload anything they wanted. So this specific student uploaded a Google Doc. So I have the Google Doc here in my my Speedgrader. I can look down through it. I can grade it. I can give a grade over here on the side, and then I can give some feedback. I can add a comment right here. The paperclip, I can attach my own file if I want to. Like maybe I have a rubric built in Google Sheets that I want, or a PDF that I marked on as I went through this student's work. I can upload things like that. The little play icon is the media recording or the media comment, where I can leave her a video and I can talk her through kind of what I saw and some feedback. Or this one, which is speech recognition, it'll type out what I say for me. So it's still like a text comment, but I can just say it and it'll text it for me. And then when I'm done with whatever I want to do, I hit submit right here. And then I can just hit this arrow and go on to the next student. So I can click through my students pretty quickly. This student uploaded a PDF. Remember this assignment, they could upload whatever they wanted to, as long as they meet the requirements of what I asked. But this one uploaded a PDF. This is not through Kami. I'll show you a Kami assignment here in just a moment, but this is just a PDF. So I have some more feedback tools up here. I can draw over the top of it. I can add text. I can highlight things if I want to give feedback. And then I still have all those same feedback options over here. And then of course I can put the grade in there and submit. So like I said, I can do the drop down and I can find students, or I can click the next arrow. I want to show you an example of a Kami assignment. So I'm going to pull up, don't mind my clicking too much here. I'm just going to pull up an assignment that I've got that's a Kami assignment. So you can kind of see what other assignment types look like. So this one I put through as a Kami assignment using the external tool feature in the assignments button. And you can see here that the student did the work. And now I, as well, have all the Kami tools. So if I want to leave feedback on this document for the student to see, I can do that. I can then leave the grade and leave all the comments here that I want. The other thing that I want to point out right here is when I do the drop-down arrow, I have two students. Thank you, Nicholas Baldi, for letting me use you as an assignment, as an example. You notice they have orange dots next to them. Orange dot means the student has turned it in, but I have not graded it yet. So when I have my list of students, they'll be coded in different ways. Orange dots means they've turned it in, but I have not graded. On the last example, the two ladies who did theirs, I had a green check mark next to each one. That means they had turned it in and I had graded it. And the final one is it's grayed out, which means they haven't turned it in. So I haven't graded it, obviously. So that's kind of nice too. As you kind of click down there, you can see your different students and who hasn't done it real quick, or who you need to grade, or who you've already graded. That's Speedgrader. There's not a ton to it. Like, there are some other options up here that we can get fancier. There's some settings that we can look for and things like that. But that's the basics of Speedgrader. The other piece of grading that I want to show you is, if I can go back here, we'll just do this a lot faster. I'm in my course. If I want to get to the traditional looking gradebook, a minute ago when we went to Speedgrader, we went to the assignments tab, but instead this time I'm going to go to grades over here on the left. When I click on grades, that's going to open up the gradebook that I'm kind of used to seeing. So I have my students along the side. I have my assignments across the top. I can just click in and give a grade right here if I want to, and kind of go through and do that as well. I can also click on the assignment right here and it'll take me to the assignment page if I want to see that specific assignment as well. The one thing to note here is where you see any of these numbers that are already in, like grades that are already in, I have not actually inputted those grades. These were from quizzes that I built for this course. The students took them, the Canvas graded it for me and put it in the gradebook for me, which is super nice. If I want to override this grade, like if I want to give them bonus points or take a point away for whatever reason, I can still click in and edit it, even though the quiz graded it for me. I still have the power to do that. And remember, this gradebook will push over to PowerSchool. So that's really nice as well. So that's the basics of grading, both Speedgrader and in the traditional looking gradebook. All right, now I want to take a quick look at rubrics in Canvas. Canvas has a pretty nice feature for those of you who like to use rubrics. You can build it right in Canvas and attach it to assignments. You can read through this. I won't read it to you, but the one thing I want to draw your attention to, obviously, is the red down here. You can only add a rubric to an assignment in Canvas when you use the online or the on-paper submission type. So remember that when you build an assignment, there's a drop-down arrow that'll come up in the middle, and you'll pick what kind of assignment type it is. To use a rubric, you have to use online or on paper. And then the other thing is, when you use rubrics with quizzes, the rubric is for feedback purposes only. The quiz score will be recorded. So that means if you build a quiz in Canvas and you make the questions in there and assign the questions points, those points that they get with the self-grading quiz will be what goes in the gradebook. You can then use the rubric, if you'd like to give feedback. But whatever they score on the quiz is what will be automatically entered in the gradebook. Remember also, though, you can override that grade pretty easily. But let's take a quick look at creating rubrics. The one other thing that I want to mention with rubrics is Canvas says best practice is to build the rubric separate and the assignment separate, and then connect the two before you push it to students. The reason for that is that way, keeping the two separate allows you to use the rubric over and over again if you want to use that same rubric on other assignments. And I'll show you what that means. So if I slide over here to Canvas, I'm in my course. I was on my dashboard and I clicked my course card, so I'm in my course. Again, back here on the left, I have a button that says Rubrics. I click into Rubrics, and just like anything else, my list of rubrics would appear right here, or I can add a rubric right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start one. And I'm going to show you some basics. I'm not going to build the whole thing. That would make a really long video, and I actually have another video for that. But I'm just going to kind of get us started. So I'm ready to start my rubric. I'm actually going to go off of one that I already have built in Google Docs. So here's one that I already have built that I just want to recreate basically in Canvas so I can use it over there. So this is a close reading one. So I'm just going to title it Close Reading. And then I have my criteria. Of course, I can add criteria, which I will be because my already made one has 3 criterion, but I'm going to start here with the top one. And so I have the title of this criteria. And I'm just going to put that, use my little pencil icon. I'm going to put that up here. And then you have this long description, which you can add to if you want to, or you don't have to. It's not required. But because I have this one already made, I have things here that I'm looking for. So it kind of gives the students an idea of what I'm looking for. In this one, I'm looking for key ideas and details. It goes into some detail about that. I'm just going to paste that right in there, update, and now I can easily add my rating. So on this one, it's a 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm just going to grab my what it takes to get a 4. Come over here, use my little pencil icon. It defaults the first one to 5, but I can change that to 4. This is where you would like title it. What does a 4 mean? I usually like to use exceeds expectations, and then I put the description down there, and I update. So then I can do a plus for my 3. My reading, this is usually meets expectations, just abbreviate there. I go over and I grab my 3. And of course, I can type it in over there as well. But if I have one already made that I want to kind of convert into Canvas, I can do it this way and update. And I would go on with my 2 and my 1. When I'm ready to move on to my next criterion, I would just simply push plus criterion, new criterion, and then I would copy and paste this stuff into that box. I won't go through all that, but what I will do is I will show you the completed one because I do have it already done. So if I click here, here's that rubric from the Google Doc all built. So I have my criterion, I have my 4, 3, 2, 1, and how many points each one. So the total points here is a 12. Now I'm ready to attach this rubric to an assignment, which is really pretty simple. I've already created the assignment because, like I said, best practice is to create the assignment and the rubric separate and then put the 2 together. So I'm going to go over to assignments on the left, and I'm going to find the assignment that I want to attach the rubric to. I called this one prep period video. I'm going to click into it, and right here I'm going to have an add rubric button. Now, when I click that button, I'm going to get the option to create a rubric right here. But like I said, best practice would be to create it first and then attach it here. That way you can use it over and over again. So since I already have it created, I'm going to do find a rubric. The nice thing about rubrics too is I can pull them from other courses. So I have all of my courses right here. So this one was from my master course, and there's my close reading one. Click on close reading, and it's going to attach it there for me. Now, when the students open this assignment, they will also be able to see the rubric so they know what they're working towards. When I go to grade it, I can just go through here, and it won't do it right now because I don't have any students in this to grade, but I can click on what the students got as I go through, and it'll add up the points for me at the end and then put that score in the gradebook. Of course, like we talked about in the gradebook portion of this video, I can override that grade if I want to, but that's a quick way to have it grade for me, or not grade for me, I do it, but I click on what they received, it adds up and puts it right into my gradebook. This is, I know, a very basic overview of rubrics. If you're looking for more on this slide deck that you'll have access to, if you click on the rubric heading, it will take you to the Canvas built rubric step-by-step. Furthermore, if you go to our digital learning site, I've made a video of step-by-step how I made that rubric all the way out and attached it to. So there's some support for you. All right, let's take a quick look at settings and notifications. There are actually a lot of different settings and notifications that you can have in Canvas. I'm not going to go through every single one, but I'm going to show you where to find the different ones so you can kind of pick and choose which are best for you. So to start off with, I guess I'll stay right here to talk really quickly. There are 2 different kind of sets of notifications. There are account level that will go for your entire account that you can set. And then there are course level. So if you want specific courses to have their own set of settings and or notifications, you could do that as well. So over here, I am on my dashboard in Canvas to start with. I'm going to go to the account button in the top left. and I have notifications and a settings button. I'll start here on notifications. These are notifications that you can have set to your email. So if you want due date um, changes or settings set, and this would be for you or your students can do this as well. If I come over here to the summary button, a little calendar, it will tell me when, or I can choose, I guess, when I want those notifications sent to me. So if I want them immediately when there's a new due date, I can have that made. If I want a daily summary sent to my email, a weekly summary, or if I don't want notifications at all. And that little symbol goes the same all the way down through here. So you can see, for example, let's talk about announcements. If a new announcement is set in one of my courses, I can have it notify me immediately. I can get a daily summary of all my announcements, or a weekly, or I can turn it off and not get any. So you can see the different notifications that you can turn on and off. There's different headings. So here's like discussions, conversations, scheduling, groups, and alerts. You can kind of decide which of these you want on or off, or how often you want to receive some of them. If I come over here now to settings, I get kind of a list of settings here. The main things I want to draw your attention to would be over here on the right. It talks about what email address it's going to use. Default, it's going to use your school one. If you would like to add another email address, you can. Students would get this too. So if students want to add another email address, they can. And then there's this button for other contacts. You can click here and add your cell phone number. If you are really into this and want notifications to come to your cell phone, you can have that done right here, or maybe not. Your students can add this too. So if you do have students that want to make sure they're on top of their work, or students that you think should be more on top of their work, you can strongly suggest they add a cell phone number here, and they'll get a text message with notifications. The other one that I want to draw your attention to is this registered services and other services. It might be worth your time to come into this and connect your Google Drive with your entire Canvas account. We have before together attached your Google Drive to individual courses, but each time you go to a new course and want to pull something from Drive, you're going to have to do that, like authenticate and link your account with it. I'm not sure I said that word right. But if you do it here at your account level, you should be able to pull things from Google Drive more smoothly. Those are the basics of the account level, meaning your entire account. I want to show you quickly where you can find settings and things for individual courses, because maybe you don't want to get notifications for every single course. Maybe there is a specific course you want to get notifications, or like I said, your students. I can come into a specific course, click into it, and then down here at the bottom, there's a settings tab. So when I click here, now I've got some more course settings that I can do just for this specific course. If I want to have an image on the course card back on my dashboard, so like that Learning Canvas card had the Minutemen logo, if I want something there, I can put it here. I can change the name of my course, or give it a code if I want to. Not overly important, but it is there. Some of this stuff down here will be set for you, like start and end date of the semester. Your PowerSchool created courses will already have that. Sections in time, which is what I'm actually getting ready to work on after I'm done making this video, is how to link multiple courses, or rosters rather, to one course. So you could have one course and all your students, if you teach the same course multiple times throughout the day, you can put it in one place, and all students from different class periods will have access to it. We'll get to that a little bit later. Here's your navigation settings. So this goes along with these things over here. You as a teacher will always see them, but if you don't want your students to see them, you can kind of drag that here. If you notice in this specific course, all of these things have a little eyeball with a slash through it, meaning my students will not see any of it. If I want them to see things like grades, I just click and drag them up here. And then it will, if I want to see announcements, click and drag so it's visible up there. If there's things here I don't want them to see, it's the same thing. I just click and drag it down below. Whatever changes you make here, just make sure underneath my screencastify thing here is the save button. Make sure to save those changes. The apps tab up here, We have already installed a lot of apps for you, a lot of the big ones that we use here at Concord. But if you have other ones, or you look down through this list of things that you know you use and want that added, you can add it at the course level. If it's something you want for multiple courses, or you think it should be added for the district level, let us know and we'll add it for you as well. So that's all the apps tab is. Then you have some feature options. You can kind of look down through here. There are some other options you can turn on. We've turned a lot on at the student level, but you can go through and look. And if you're wondering what each one is, there's a little arrow on the side. When you click, it gives you a little synopsis of what each one is. So you can decide if you want that on for the course level. Remember, we are in course settings. So anything you do is only for this one course. One last thing in settings that I want to show is if I go home, I'm on the home page kind of. Over here, I have all these options. At the very bottom, I can view course notifications. So if I click on that, this is where I can kind of set my notifications for this specific course. Before, we looked at notifications for my account, meaning all of my courses. If I want this one to be a little different than that, I can come to this and set that here. So that's just kind of the start of settings. Of course, we have the how-to linked over here in the slide deck if you'd like to know more about settings. All right, one last thing I want to talk about in this video, and this won't take too long, is just how to share content. So if you are wanting to share content between your department, your grade level, your group, whatever, it's actually pretty simple on how to share content. So I'm going to slide back over to my course here. And let's say I want to share a page. Maybe I've made a home page that someone else wants to use or whatever. I just come to my Pages tab on the left, view all pages, and get into my list of pages. Now, this same process will be used for anything. If I'm doing pages, if I'm doing assignments, I can even share an entire module. Whatever I want to do, I'm on my list here, and all I got to do is come over to these three little dots to the right and hit send to. When I hit send to, I get the bar here. All of our email addresses here at Concord have been preloaded in. So I just start typing in who I want to send it to. And I should get my lists. Kelly Welly, send. It sends it right over to her. Again, I can do that same thing with modules. I can send an entire module over. So maybe she needs this math perimeter one. All of these pieces, assignments, and pages are inside of that. I just come to the heading of the module, three little dots, send to, and type it in. I can obviously send it to multiple, like I can put multiple email addresses in there if I'd like to send it to my entire team or grade level or whatever, and send away. The only other thing to think about is, okay, let's say I am being sent something. Where do I find it? You come over here to account. You notice I have a little green one. If I click on that and find shared content, then I've got the things that have shared with me. So this is new. It's got a green dot next to it. For me to bring it into one of my courses, I click the three little green dots, import, and then here's where I would tell it what course I want it to go to, and I'd click import, and it'd be there. It's just as simple as that. Of course, we have some how-to videos down here for you if you'd like to know more about that, or if you want to just do that and not watch this entire video all over again just to learn how to share content. That's down there. These videos, of course, too, are on our digital learning site, so you can quickly get to those. Just like always, we have some helpful tools here at the end for you. Some of these have been here before. Some of them are new. We're always adding to them. Don't forget to check out the digital learning site. There's a Canvas tab on the left that has a lot of how-to videos there. Kelly and I are always here to support moving forward. Hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your day.